Big Orgs. A lot of players that have been around the block are now reunited on new teams. They're looking for an identity.
Taken out. And then Blackbeard, Capitao, both decently common. Capitao only got banned a single time on this map in Reload in the first phase.
Oh my.
And Capitao, one of his strongest strengths is taking players out of crack, but it will come down to this. Kobe trying to find an entry point. That nade's going to be a big problem for him. He doesn't know the guys to the right of the breach and loses it to Kansan. We've hyped up quite a bit, both in the desk and the pregame. Spiker answers with another one onto Dream, so that's now a man advantage going back the way of Wildcard, despite how that first pick went. Still players up top. Giddy needs to strike back if he wants his team to have any shot here.
Unless that gridlock with no Capitao, if you're looking for anti-flanker, the ways to flush somebody out, the track stingers can work very effectively. Gridlock also tends to carry nades, but one could be used. All the nades have been expended by Wildcard. Cloud9 doing an excellent job as now Giddy hits Bay and then immediately drops one of those goo mines, littering his path back. All of a sudden, Wildcard coming out on top of these fights. Wildcard suffered that very first death, and it didn't look like it would be the best result for them, but a perseverance and that staying power, it's sometimes hard to shake. Now it's all up to Packer, running that aforementioned Uzi charm on his SMG 11, which is a form of Uzi, if we're being technical. I think it's a Mac 10 is the official gun. He's well positioned for this drop, and with the HP of Kansan holding on to that case, he can do some serious damage. He wins the round based on time.
Games Troy has played, but Dream does have more games played than his entire rest of his team. Packer had a big first round, but it looks like he's about to get traded out. The Damos of Dash doesn't actually hit the shot, but eventually Kansan's there to, on the other angle to find the kill and clean out the clutch player from round number 1. That means Packer's going to have to IGL this team from the grave as the 5v4 execute will eventually come in from Wildcard. Getting that first initial pick opens up the top floor, of course, and enables them to push in whichever way that they'd like. Control of the dining hatch is often thought to be critical if you're going for a backside push over by Wine, and based on Wildcard's current positioning, that does seem to be the game plan. So a couple more X-Cars to be used from Spiker. They can get some angles open into this backside, and the push will begin.
There's a nade that will sail by as Kobe is on the move. C9 equalizing after losing Packer with only 20 seconds left. Wildcard need to be better managing the clock in this round. They seem to have it working in round number 1, but they needed about 3 more seconds. At this point, they're going to make their execute happen with just 10 seconds on the clock. And what a frenzy it's going to be. A crossfire as bullets whiz all over the map. C9 coming out ahead in every single engagement. It's Baby Shark in a hopeless 1v4.
Opened up by Spiker. They realized they had a problem with Harbridge last time, so they brought 2 this time around. 1 will fall, though. An early death from Kansan, courtesy of Giddy, will mean that their best player is eliminated before this push can even begin. We saw it earlier as well. Packer below. Giddy not done? A third? That was a nasty shot.
Giddy spent so long grinding to get to this point, and he almost found a 4th on Dash, who shrugs off a bit of damage. He and Baby Shark, neither of whom traditionally from North America, send a Brazilian and a Frenchman to get the job done. That's Wildcard's strategy at the present moment. And I mean, I guess you don't need to worry about managing the clock so much if y'all die before it gets to the final 30 seconds. Baby Shark now swallowed up over by Piano. Dash with 1 kill to be had, finds a second. Cloud9 can knock it over Eager. They're a younger team, and inexperience makes you hunt those frags, but Kobe Lax and Silent have been here before, and Silent in particular is well positioned to get this, but Kobe does it before Silent's position on the ground.
We've had big play after big play coming out from Cloud9. That round, it just happened to be Giddy who was...
Cannot, especially with the problems you're having so far, you cannot afford to kill, 40 seconds of your own time. Baby Shark is off to the races, but C9 catches them flat-footed. Kansan, the only one from Wildcard, gets on the board. He finds 2 for his troubles. He's been fantastic so far, but his supporting cast is almost gone. It's Kansan and Spiker against 3 players from C9 with plenty of time. This is the best look that we've seen from Wildcard when it comes to balancing that clock. Kansan watching now. over towards stairs, and he'll go back towards Solarium as Diffuser goes down, and the scramble from C9 as the clock gets even smaller than it was before beckons. C9 needs to deal with this engagement. Kansan has his back turned to the drop from Solarium. Giddy eliminates Spiker, and it's up to Kansan now to win the entire round for his team. Punished by Silent as he didn't have a good read on it. And the trophy, not just the room, but the actual trophy for C9 is yet another round. Indomitable.
Capitao on the board. That's a very difficult position to try to clear, so... Player moved off, and now it'll be Kobe who's receiving the brunt of this pressure.
Oh, Wildcard finally getting on the board in these rounds. And it's Silent and Dream. Silent with 4 kills. Dream finds his first. It's a Nitro Cell, an explosive end to Bay. Dash will join him. Now, what seemed to be a little out of reach for Cloud9 is more winnable. He managed to take out 2 players. Baby Shark dies as well. They trade, though. That's devastating for Cloud9. If Silent had stayed upright and stayed alive, Dream and him could have very easily worked this 2v2. Dream using that Nitro Cell earlier to get the kill, but he's under watch from a drone inside a bar, and he's now going to have to be a man on the move. They've got intel. 45 seconds left for them to collapse on him. One can go main lobby, another can drop hatch, and he's got to watch the A-bomb site as well. He has a read, but he's a bit slow on the peak. Dream losing an awful lot of HP, and now decides let's reposition and take the fight over towards those library stairs, but he's exposed to the soft wall. Reed's coming in as now there's a drop, and Dream playing off the sound and intel, but there's only so much you can do.
Exceptionally difficult as he creeps through them now. Did anybody hear that?
The thing is that we get a front row seat, but there's always team comms, and Silent takes advantage of that, but there's Kansan hiding behind him. My goodness, what a jump scare that must have been. Cloud9 loses Silent, who's been far and away their best player over the last couple rounds, matching Giddy's might. Packers removed by Spiker, and down goes Dash. This 1-2 punch of C9 through these 6 rounds as defenders of Giddy and Silent has been mighty hard for Wildcard to overcome, and their 2 stars are currently sitting at just 2 kills apiece. Thank goodness for Kansan. If he hadn't spawned in Jesse, this one would be, well, I mean, you can't lose much harder. Wildcard likely would have had 0 rounds, but it would not speak well for the team's potential moving forward. Kansan is last man standing, and he is, well, quite a ways away from being a factor. He's close enough to the bomb site, but now just needs to assert himself as once again the clock became a problem for Wildcard. Giddy breaks double digits, and what an incredible first half. She's great.
Parker. She is, but I mean, a Nomad wouldn't have lost that round, you know, and that's kind of where it comes down to. Those track singers, they do not give you the same kind of alert to the attack, but that won't be for at least 6 more rounds. If you're Wildcard, they will swap sides down 5-1 now here on Chalet. As I said, Azami has a 100% ban rate on this map.
It's true. I talked about this back in round number, or in matchup number 1, that we've seen teams come back from 6-0 deficits, but I mean, you need to keep it close at some point. Bay finds 2 of his 3 kills all in the same circumstance, and he finds a 3rd as he trades himself out. An interesting decision for a smoke, playing off by Chimney onto that balcony window. Finds 3 kills, and he dies with his gadgetry. I would make that trade. I don't know about you, but why not? You don't necessarily need the Toxic Babes to slow down the attackers if you kill 3 of the 5 of them. That leaves Giddy and Packer as the only 2 up for C9, and Packer gets a kill with the shotgun to close those numbers, but an advantage still for Wildcard, all borne by the great play of Bay.
30 seconds left to try to make this happen. I like with the Lion Charge. They know where these players are. They're all in sight, but they need to push together.
Giddy can tear through that wall very effectively with the DMR. Packer, a little bit more close range, and he's still positioned upstairs. He's got the diffuser, and in a very precarious spot, he'll need to drop. Last Candela about to go out, and Giddy will use the cover to encroach on the space of Wildcard. It was a 1v1 as Packer found yet another kill.
Deadly. So he's going to hope to try to use that for another opening pick, one of his strongest specialties. On this rappel, though, it gets really awkward up against these spots that Wildcard are playing. That's a nice fireball, but it just misses.
Ooh, Nitro Cell goes out. Kansan with 1 pick traded right back as Kobe eliminates Dash. Both teams will lose 1. Giddy, who was quiet last round, very limited HP, cannot be as aggressive or as assertive as he would like to be. Bay swings on to Kobe. They trade each other. There's been a bevy of trades so far in this series and today across the board. Kansan tries to vacate the premises and Dream punishes him for that. Wildcard now down in numbers, but lots of time has gone by. Cloud9 through 2 rounds has shown that they can manage the clock as attackers a little bit more effectively than Wildcard, and that might be the difference maker here. Drones get put into position, Jesse, and there's just a little more than 30 seconds left for Cloud9 to push to match point.
Yeah, it's time for Baby Shark to prove why he got picked up on this team. You cannot let it all lie on Spiker inside the site. Baby Shark's in the off-site position. This is the fight.
He's got the angle held. Baby Shark's trying to account for multiple angles that they can push on in. Thankfully, he doesn't need to worry about lobby as the castle barricade blocks him off from there. Bullets will whiz on by. Spiker sees the lineup and gets 2 of them. That's how you win a round in a split second.
Entering the building can often be one of the most difficult things of Chalet, and once again, that reigns true. Big pickup from Dash now. It's a 5-on-3.
Dash and Spiker just tearing through these players, and C9 much worse for it. Right now, outside, struggling to get in. You nailed it. Getting into the building in Chalet is really tough. I said unless this was close, we were going to see a timeout. At this point, I imagine they've already informed the admins of a timeout because you are staring down a flawless round. The one saving grace is you might actually be able to just call a timeout here in a bit more casual a fashion, right? It's just Dream in a 1v5. There's an echo on the board. Still 2 toxic canisters from Spiker, and there's a clash present. This is an almost unwinnable situation for any player, period. Doesn't matter if you are the LeBron James of Rainbow Six Siege. You're not going to be able to pull this one off.
Counters to it on that board, and it only got brought on a single bomb site. They will opt to take the clash off the board, and Wildcard.
Baby Shark and Bay combined for 2 kills through 6 rounds of the first half. Since then, oh my, they've combined for 6 in just 3 active rounds on defense, doing much better as defenders. Bay dies very early. If you remember, he had a great play upstairs by that mezzanine, looking out onto the balcony on smoke. He will not replicate that success. And because of that, and because he's picked off early, those babes will have no impact in the later portion of the round. Of course, the ones that he had still remaining in back pocket. Cloud9 called their timeout. They find the first 2 picks in this round, the best attacking round they've had so far. Silent is sat down by Kansan, so Wildcard still very much in this. Clock management will be very important as we hit the final 30 seconds. Wildcard drawing blood a second time. Now it's Dream shut down. Packer will join him. Giddy is on the board, and he finds 2. Giddy had a terrific first half, but he quieted down. 12 kills in his hands. 14 in Kansan, but Kobe Lax is also there to be a difference maker. Trying to get game day reps in, and let's not kid ourselves. Both of these squads are still brand new. Their only real game day reps we've seen were in Rio. Packer taking advantage of Nook's cloaking ability, walking in, and he kills Kansan on a leap as he manages to make it out of dodge.
Round to clutch up. Dash and Baby Shark also nowhere near each other at the moment, so unable to go for trades unless they hook up later in the round.
And because all this action happens so quickly, there's tons of gadgetry on the side of Cloud9. They can just simply outlast you, outdrone you, and outblow you up if they so choose. Flashes, regular nades, Rotero drones, an embarrassment of riches for Cloud9 as Dash expends his own explosive, and Giddy, the player we hyped up